Follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to like. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Guys, it was a mission just to watch the film. I almost didn't make it. Before I talk about the film, let me give you a quick summary of how difficult it was just to watch the movie. I bought tickets to watch the first opening available, which was at 2 p.m. today in Riverside. However, yesterday I was contacted by one of my film friends, and he had asked me, hey, can you film some behind the scenes stuff for part of the project? And I love working on films, so I was like, yeah, I'll be there. When is it? And then he was like, it's on Thursday. And I'm like, Thursday? I'm supposed to go watch Mission Impossible. But I didn't tell him I was going to go watch Mission Impossible because I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm going to go watch a movie when I'm over here trying to help him make movies, you know? Anyways, so it's in Sunland. I go in the morning, shoot the BTS. Then I rush home. I'm low on gas. I gotta get to San Bernardino. I got enough to get to the gas station right around the corner from the house. I fill up, drop off all my equipment, and then drive over to Riverside, which is another half hour. The whole trip from Sunland to San Bernardino was like an hour and a half. Then from San Bernardino to Riverside, it was like another half hour. And I'm rushing on the freeway to get to the theater, and I still have to park. And once I park, then I have to get to the stairs and go up 3 floors. So I'm running up 3 flights of stairs. I get to the reception, show 'em my ticket. I get in. I had to take a piss so bad. I was holding it in for like 2 hours. So I go in, piss, and then as soon as I get to my seat and sit down, the movie starts. So I felt like I was having a Mission Impossible of my own just to watch the Mission Impossible that I had planned to watch. Anyways, I'm going to get into some spoilers, so you got about 10 seconds after this ad when I discuss the film. Mission Possible is a new track I created under my music alias Necro1990, based on the Mission Impossible opening theme song. Is streaming everywhere that music can be streamed. Check it out. Okay, so the film begins kind of the way I thought it would end, with like a kind of an emotional send-back reel where you kind of relive moments of the Mission Impossible films. But they kind of start the film like that to establish how Ethan's situation is what it is with the entity, how it became to be. We see that the entity is kind of like this Michael Crichton prediction of technology terrorizing humanity. We get some samples of deepfakes, how algorithms can radicalize people. And the whole film has really good pacing. Like the beginning to the end, it doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie. I felt like going into it, I was like, I don't mind watching it because I'm a big fan of the Mission Impossible series. So for me, no big deal. 3 hours, I'm there. But I was like, for the average moviegoer, is this going to be a good movie? Because if you're not a fan of the franchise, you're probably not going to have the same patience with it as someone who is a fan. But I found that the pacing was really good. Like there wasn't any fat that I could think of that would have needed to be trimmed off. And the one thing that this film does that I didn't think I would expect to appreciate was Mission Impossible 3, The Rabbit's Foot. Now, Mission Impossible 3 is not my personal favorite out of the Mission Impossible film series. I don't hate it, but I don't love it like I love some of the other ones. But with this film, they bring back the Rabbit's Foot from Mission Impossible 3, and it kind of makes Mission Impossible 3 feel a lot more important to me now, at least as far as the series, the whole Mission Impossible series. I feel like it's gained some importance to me as a fan in the chronological order of the films. And then we get this contrast of motivation from Dead Reckoning to The Final Reckoning, where we see the villain Gabriel, who emerges out of this digital tomb with this mask where he's like been possessed by the entity. And Tom Cruise basically, he goes into this same tomb, and the entity's plan was basically to have them both work together. So they both were destined to enter that tomb and take a little adventure to the Doomsday Vault. Now, I will say that the personal stakes between Ethan and Gabriel and the race against time, all that stuff was really good. I think the entity as a protagonist is not the strongest Mission Impossible antagonist. I would say it's probably like the least strongest antagonist out of all the Mission Impossible films. And I think that's because its presence is hard to appreciate because you're more caught up on the conflict between Tom and Gabriel, or Ethan and Gabriel. Sorry, I'm using Tom Cruise. Ethan and Gabriel. The conflict there's a satisfaction to watching the conflict. Whereas with the entity, because it's kind of like present through the internet, the only real time you can see it as a threat is when it's dismantling the grid of the world. So yeah, as an antagonist, the entity I feel like is not that strong. The thing that keeps the movie interesting is the conflict with Ethan and everyone in his way. The choreography in this film is fantastic though. We got this opening MMA combat with Tom Cruise and Haley Atwell versus these evil spies recruited by Gabriel. That fight sequence was really well done. The other one that was really good too was the Morse code sequence when they're trying to send the coordinates to Ethan on a submarine and they're stuck in this cabin with a bunch of Russians. The choreography there was pretty good too. But the final conflict, the climax of the movie, there's so much happening. And I love how, well, this happened in the Morse code choreography when they're stuck on the cabin with the Russians, when Ethan Hunt is on the submarine fighting. A lot of the hits are crossing over. Like the fight was choreographed. It's hard to explain, but the rhythm of the fight was designed to carry one strike in one clip to another strike in the next clip. And I just really liked the way they did that. And especially they had so many characters fighting. It just was really satisfying in this rhythmic representation. But yeah, like I was saying, the climax of the film is nuts. There's so much going on. We have Benji, Grace, and Paris have to complete this hacking goal where they set up a trap for the entity to be caught in a 5-dimensional hard drive. I don't even know what it is. It's just such a weird looking hard drive. It's like a hard drive from the future. While that's happening, Benji has to get operated on by Paris. So he's like guiding Haley Atwell and Paris through the hacking and through the surgery on himself. So that was pretty crazy. And then we have the nuclear launch that's counting down, along with another nuclear bomb that's counting down right next to Paris, Benji, and Grace. That's being worked on by one of the characters from the first film. I forget his name. The one from Mission Impossible 1. But him and his wife and one of the other side characters. I forget his real name is Tarzan. I forget his name in the film. But so Tarzan, Mission Impossible 1 guy, and his wife are trying to like disarm this nuclear bomb as Benji. And it's just everyone's role was vital. And then we have Ethan Hunt jumping from one biplane onto the next, trying to just get to Gabriel. And the whole thing is just such an intricate, climactic masterpiece. So that was really fun to watch. But I will say the one heartbreaking thing about this film though was Luther. God, when Luther exits stage left, I was so sad. I was like, no, Luther. One of the OGs, like, please don't go. Don't go. I mean, he goes out in a very heroic way and he is still very much present throughout the film. He's like a ghost that keeps on pushing Ethan as things get tough and provides him some resolution in the end. And man, I was just heartbroken when I knew someone was going to die. I was pretty sure it was going to be either Luther or Benji, and I wasn't ready for either, whichever one it would have been. But rest in peace to Luther. You were a real one. But anyways, that's Mission Impossible. I had a lot of fun with this film. And yeah, if you're a fan of the Mission Impossible films, I think for me, Fallout is probably the best Mission Impossible film that there is. Second to that is probably Rogue Nation. The first Dead Reckoning, I liked the setup a lot more, but the Final Reckoning, I liked the climactic payoff. So Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning would kind of just be in the same place for me. And then I guess I would go 4. That's a confusing list. But yeah, so anyways, what's your favorite Mission Impossible, guys? Mission Possible is a new track I created under my music alias Necro1990. Based on the Mission Impossible opening theme song, is streaming everywhere that music can be streamed. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Pandora, wherever. Check it out.